Hi, everyone. My name is Ambrose, and this is Beyond the Device. This is a show where we talk about mobile endpoint solutions, the OEMs that make these products, how they're deployed in organizations, and just a closer look at the tech in general. Joining me today is CTA Digital. This is a company that manufactures a lot of different enclosures, pretty cool tech to showcase. And from Long Island, New York, we've got Mike joining us. Mike, thank you for being here.
Hello, thanks for having me, Ambrose. Yes, all the way from the other side of the house, joining remotely today. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, once again, thanks. CTA has been a partner a number of years, but yeah, can you give us a little intro, a little background on CTA?
Yeah, so my background actually is not initially in the tech industry. I was in various sales roles, so this is a new foray for me. And I've been with CTA about 7 years. And CTA's background is interesting. We're over 25 years old, and the origin of CTA is actually in beepers and batteries and cell phone accessories. And for a period of time, we're in the gaming industry, and we made some semi-famous gaming accessory products for some well-known systems. And when the iPad hit the scene some 15 years ago, the thought process was, hey, this is going to eat into gaming, traditional gaming, which it did. And this is probably going to increase, whereas gaming may take a hit. So let's pivot and let's start to see what we can provide for the iPad. And that has, of course, since grown. Now you have all sorts of people in the tablet space. And then we've since pretty dramatically expanded our portfolio, especially over the last 5 years, to include more monitor accessories, outdoor enclosure display accessories, etc. But our recent roots have been for tablet accessories.
Yeah, I think when I first started working here and looked at the portfolio, the requests I were getting were wall mount enclosures, which we were seeing get put outside of patient rooms in hospitals. So they'd have an iPad or an Android device in there. And then during COVID, it came up with the telehealth roll stand carts, like something inexpensive that they could just put a tablet on and do telemedicine. I remember that when I first started, those were really popular.
Yeah, that may be when we started to connect with 3i, I believe, because there was all kinds of turmoil in the world at large, but everyone was buying lock, stock, and barrel, all of our rolling floor stands, which hospitals in particular love because they're a very low-cost item, and they don't have as many bells and whistles, but if you put an iPad or a tablet on them, they can roll around and the gooseneck articulates and can lock, and that can do everything you need for under $100. So they were like, how many can we get? How fast can we get them? Yeah, that was another hot item. It still is at that time, especially.
So a lot of that was public-facing technologies. Why is it important to create some sort of physical security for those devices?
That's a good question. I think that's crucial and sometimes can be often overlooked because as an accessory provider, generally speaking, people, when our reseller friends or whoever comes to us and they say, I want this software and I want this tablet. And then they go, oh my gosh, how am I going to put this into the world? How are people going to interact with it? Do I want it on a mount? Do I want it on a pole or on an arm? And we need those enclosed because people could just walk in the store and walk in the hospital and get a free iPad. And you could put all the software security you like, but if people walk away with it, that's not good regardless. So you have to think of a way of interacting with that where it's in a secure way, but also doesn't prevent ease of use from the end user, right? So you have to find that sweet spot of sometimes I want mobility and I want security. It's going to be a limited, maybe you want a cable lock, you want a limited range of mobility, or you want to be able to, when you put it back, have it automatically charge. So we play in that space where We're trying to find the best way for people to interact with the technology with their hands in that space. And we can come up with a lot of creative solutions. And that's been our sweet spot, is customizing those designs where people come to us and they say, hey, I've got this problem. I'm not really sure how to mount this, how to secure it, how to enclose it without obscuring the camera, without making it awkward for the customer, or without being charged an arm and a leg for it. So that's where we can really shine.
I also noticed some of the floor stands, I don't know if they're like called kiosk solutions, but they also have to look aesthetically pleasing to the eye. They have other, what was it? The wall mounts, it's got to have room for a PoE injector or other little accessories to power and connect it to the network. So I think you guys did a great job nailing the aesthetics of a lot of those solutions.
We appreciate that. Yeah, a lot of ours, we try and stay in that sweet spot where it's sleek but robust. Nobody's going to walk away with the floor stand. It's 30 pounds or can be bolted down. That would be rather difficult to do. And then we can also explore, especially for enterprise projects, we can explore, hey, I want my logo on this, or I want it red, or I want it blue, or so on and so forth. And so people really, sometimes we'll just say to the customer, hey, here's what it would look with your logo, by the way. And they're like, oh, wow, I didn't even consider that. That looks awesome. Can we do that?
Yeah, tell me more about that, because another one of our vendors does custom branding, which it seems to be most of the time now. You've also got those locker solutions. Are those also custom branded?
That's a good question. So to a large extent, our enterprise projects can be very heavily customized. And I would say that there are two things that CTA is most known for. The first one is our ability to customize a solution from the ground up. If something maybe doesn't even exist in the space, it's a whole new type of a way of interacting with things. We can say, okay, Mr. Customer, what is it you want? Okay, I want XYZ. I want X number of them within X timeline, X price point. So, okay, let's explore that. And we generally, as a rule of thumb, don't charge any NRE fees. We often don't charge any sample costs, or there are very low sample costs. So it's quick turnaround for us to say, okay, here's what you said. Here's our rendering. Okay, we like that. This looks good. All right, we can have a sample to you in a couple weeks or what have you. And so that would be the first thing that really stands out with CTA. And the second thing is just apples to apples. What we've seen consistently from our sellers in the field is that when we come up against a similar solution, we're going to be at a lower price point. That's just what we see time and time again. We're very lean. We're scrappy at heart. So sometimes the customer just wants another alternative. They say, well, we've been using these folks for a while, but are you able to offer this maybe with a tweak or a refinement or an adjustment? And what would that look like? Let's have that conversation.
I think oftentimes when we're doing mobile deployments in our world, the accessories are a last minute addition or an afterthought, or they had forgotten about it. So having something that's budget friendly, because it may have been thought about when they were budgeting the opportunity, and short lead times, can you tell me about that? Because I think you do have aggressive price points, but oftentimes when we're doing quotes and things, you have this product pretty readily available.
Yeah, that's a great point. The time of day when we get the most opportunities is the 11th hour. Usually it's a very last minute. Sometimes I feel like the people just forget that they're going to need to mount this somehow. So we're very aware of that. And sometimes I like to say, we're the tail, we're not the dog. We follow the opportunity, not necessarily lead it. So that's one of my roles, is to spread the good word of CTA so people are aware, as they sometimes come up to a time barrier, hey, CTA can help us out quickly. But one of the ways we try and approach that is to have a very modular solution. Although we can customize, that's not always, and we can do it quickly, but it's still sometimes the deadlines are pretty hard and pretty extreme. We try and have a large portfolio of modular solutions, which we can, for lack of a better term, mix and match and say, okay, I know you wanted this to be exactly this way. we can get you 95% of that with existing SKUs, and we have them in stock, and we can get it to you tomorrow, or we could get it to you next week. And so sometimes customers will say, okay, all right, well, we gave you an impossible task, so we understand we can take this. And sometimes we could do 100%. We could say, look, we have the enclosure, we have the floor stand, and we can piecemeal together and make it work. And so I think customers appreciate the lengths that you will go to attempt to make it work, especially when they put you under the gun there.
I did notice I always have you double check my work because I'm not as strong with the portfolio as some of my other ones. I notice a lot of times it's the same part number that's, yes, that works for that size device, or yes, it comes with this insert that makes it compatible. So I appreciate that.
So if we go back to speaking about the 11th hour, we try our best to help the customer mitigate that. And the best way that we've seen to do that is to begin interacting with the channel earlier and more often. So our distribution partners, 3i, and our OEM friends, the closer we can work with them, the better, because although we're not always involved in every aspect, and sometimes we do have to be patient, it's better to be brought in sooner so we can identify potential solutions for when we do get to the final need for mounting. And this also prevents us from being unprepared, as occasionally there's a custom project and a tight deadline, and it's just every so often you got to turn away, although our philosophy is yes, we can. That just mitigates that, or that best prepares us to be in a situation where we can proactively have everything ready. And okay, Mr. Customer, just so you know, if you want to go down this custom path, it's going to take X amount of weeks. Oh, okay, we didn't realize that. Okay, let's make sure we account for that. Okay, great. And then everyone has clear expectations and we can make everyone happy.
Our channel partners, most of them do managed services. They'll do deployments, provisioning, staging, and kitting. That's the time where you want to make sure that you've got all your ducks in a row and you've got product being either manufactured or being shipped. So when it's at the end of that provisioning cycle, it's ready to get mounted and enclosed.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also want to make sure, to the best extent possible, that we've provided a sample and they've tested it and they say, yes, this is exactly how we like it. So when the time comes, send us more of these.
So tell me about going back to I mentioned the locker situation. I saw the lockers on the website, and I've been seeing more and more of these in the retail space and in enterprise, like offices for IT support, where you can drop your laptop that needs to be worked on in the locker and it gets checked in and out. Tell me more about that solution that you've got going.
Yeah, we're very excited about the locker solution. It came to us as a customer specific request. Funny enough, actually, 2 customers requested it almost at the exact same week, which is fun. But basically, we are positioning a smart locker solution that, again, just very much CTA. It's customized from the ground up. So what I mean by that is it's any number of lockers and it's any size of lockers to hold any number of different devices. So as an example, we're working very closely with a major national grocery store chain, and they have 5 different devices that they're deploying. They've got phones, tablets, Bluetooth thermometers, walkie-talkies, scanners, all kinds of stuff. And they're all different sizes and require different batteries, different wiring, and people have different authentications to say you can take this and you can't take this, and your manager can see X, Y, Z. And that was all heavily customized. But from a high level, what I like to say is we know there are competitors in this space, and some of them are known for this, and that's okay. But we're taking a different position of, okay, we may not be promoting all the extra bells and whistles that some customers may like, but we've seen that has made this locker solution as a whole cost prohibitive, whereas our solution may be maybe half the price or much less, because these price tags on these custom lockers from other folks or standard lockers can reach a pretty high degree. They can be $50,000, $100,000. So we're taking the position of, we're a Toyota in this space. We're not a Rolls Royce, but you don't always want a Rolls Royce and can't always afford it. So that's what we're taking. It's going to get what you want done, and we're able to tweak it to your specifications. And from what we've heard from our OEM friends that we're working closely with, there really isn't a lot in this particular positioning for this space. So we're quite excited to see where it can go. And as we gain more traction, we're going to make a bigger fuss about it. But yeah, it's the possibilities are quite large.
I do remember because I started seeing these years ago, and the companies I was seeing them were massive, huge budgets could afford something like this. Now this is good to hear because more and more companies probably it's going to be within their budget. I've also noticed the evolution of them. They used to just be smaller cubbies, and now it's getting to be there's situations where I've been hearing, well, I need a space to share power tools for this a huge construction project that we're working or renovations in an organization, and we got contractors coming in and out, and we can't be missing our electronics that we need to do our job, or the specific power tools or instruments that are very expensive. I could see that being a concern. So it's good to see that it's evolved and the prices are coming down, the customization is there. That's great.
It's funny that you say that because our initial positioning of this was primarily and pretty much only a position of this will mitigate theft, which is a feature. But we've also heard from our pilot at the grocery chain that there are other factors, there are other soft costs that are significant. And what they've been saying that one of our contacts says, I can't tell you how many times I'm in the store and I go to speak to the employees and I say, okay, let's get out your tablet. We're going to talk about this and that. And the first employee says, oh, I don't know where it is. And then I say, okay, you get out your tablet and let's talk about this. And they say, it's not charged. And so just the fact of where things are, who had them last, and you know it's going to be charged, can be significant when you're talking about many employees over a 12, 24-hour span. And if it's not charged, you have to either forget that, or they have to go find one and walk 10, 15 minutes across the store and come back. And that's time lost, and that's lack of focus. And so they were very excited about these other lesser features that they made a bigger deal out of. Again, I don't even think we know the full extent to which it can be leveraged. We're just very excited about rolling this out.
So we've been talking a lot about retail solutions, but can you go through some of the verticals and maybe what's been trending in each of those?
Sure. Well, I would say our biggest vertical right now is restaurant and hospitality, and a couple of reasons for that. In specifically the QSR space, quick serve restaurants, you've got use cases in both front and back of house that are both significant. You've got your kitchen display system, your KDS, you've got your point of sale. So on both halves, you may need some sense of mobility, and you're going to need a sense of security, especially on the customer facing side. So we've seen a lot of use in that space. We also we did a nationwide rollout for 4,000 of our articulating arms with an inductive charging case. That's become one of our best selling SKUs. I may circle back and talk about that because that's another story. But basically, it's a line busting solution, and it's very easy to use and at a low cost. And then additionally, we're able to provide stainless steel solutions for healthcare grade concerns when you're in a kitchen. Not everything's going to fly. You've got heat temperature concerns. It can't mount in a certain way because the hot steam's going to eventually corrode the mount or make it slip or fall or what have you. So you've got to have those considerations. And not everyone really thinks about that before they go into space. They're just like, I need these in the kitchen. Okay, let's identify how and where you'd like them mounted. So I would say that's our biggest one. And then we've also got our retail, as you mentioned, which again, you need a combination of mobility and security for the employee to potentially take the tablet off of a mounted position and go help the customer and come back and reattach smoothly without having to fumble with keys or say, I'm sorry, Mr. Customer, you have to come over here and you have to bring that hefty object with you or for me to scan it or what have you. And then anywhere you would find a tablet, we're close behind, but those would be our two biggest. And to my point earlier about healthcare, rolling floor stands is a hot solution for us as well, because again, the low price point, the ease of use, and our ability to customize exactly how they want it, how many wheels, what other accessories they want it to hold. So I would say those are our biggest verticals for the moment.
All right. So speaking of VersaGuard, you mentioned, very excited to see the latest addition to the portfolio. Can you tell me how this came to be and what trends that you expect to see?
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that. We're very excited about VersaGuard, but to take a step back, our case family has more or less come, or at least the more exciting cases that we offer, have come from one request for a customer we got a number of years ago. And they were looking for a solution for the back of house kitchen. So they wanted something that was essentially waterproof, could get sauces spilled on it. They were like, it's going to be dropped. It's going to get put in the sink. It's going to get thrown around the room, and they're not going to be gentle with it. And we said, okay, here's the solution. We made a case that was robust and basically waterproof. And then we also added magnets on the back because they said, we really don't know how we want to mount it. We want it easy to use, but we don't want it on any situation. And sometimes that's the case. The customer doesn't know exactly what they want. So sometimes we can help them make a decision or help find the right direction. So we made this case with magnets, and the original intention of the magnets was just to be able to put it anywhere that they have metal very quickly and easily. And we have the sweet spot of it's strong enough magnetically where it's not going to fall off, but not so strong that you can't take it back off with one hand. So we feel that we've hit the sweet spot with that. And then they said, we like it, but wait, we want more. We also want it to inductively charge. So we took basically the same form factor and we added some power pass-through accommodations, and we made our first inductive charging case, which is one of the cases we've had the most success with. Those two, both the inductive and non-inductive versions, are still SKUs today, and they're both very popular. We had a 4,000 location nationwide QSR chain roll out with the inductive version, but very easy to use and very popular. And then we've since taken it a step further, and we've developed a whole family of cases, which we now call VersaGuard. And to give it the proper introduction and speak to it, I'll let my colleague, Mike G, speak to it a little bit more.
Yeah. I'm Mike Gersitz. I'm a product design engineer here with CTA Digital. I've worked closely with the VersaGuard line as well as some other products that we have here. And I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great. So very excited to see this VersaGuard. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so this is our new lineup of cases right here. This is the VersaGuard base version. All the base models come with this center puck that has a rotatable hand strap as well as a kickstand. So this is the foundation of what VersaGuard is, but beyond that, it can be a lot more. It's really the potential of it that's exciting. And what I mean by that is that it's a fully modular case system. So all of these components that you see right here, this middle strap, for instance, the mounting points on the back here, the mounting points on the side, all of this is completely customizable to exactly what the customer needs. So for instance, if they wanted a hand strap or a shoulder strap, we have mounting points for that. If they wanted a hand strap on the side, we have mounting points for that. If they wanted let's say a square POS system mounted to this, we can do that. We can charge it at the same time. If you wanted a Link 2500 payment system in the middle, we can do that as well. We can fully integrate it with the case. And we have several exciting versions of this that are already out and being produced right now. So we're excited to see where this takes us, but we think the possibilities are endless, and we're going to just continue to build on this throughout the years.
I think that this line of product is interesting because it gives customers more tablet options to choose from, but they can still have the benefit of having the wireless charge capabilities. Can you elaborate on how this works?
Absolutely, yeah. So one of the core tenets that was behind this design was to give the customer as many options as they could possibly want for charging. So one of those options is swapping out this center puck with induction charging, with wireless charging. We make a proprietary puck for this. And it's similar to MagSafe, a magnetic connection that also is enhanced by a mechanical connection as well. And that just gives the customer a wireless charging option that's easy to attach the tablet, pull it off, get going, do whatever you have to do, but also keeps everything sealed and keeps everything protected. Doesn't give you any wires to trip over, anything to break. So that's been a really popular option for us that we wanted to bring to this, and we've integrated it successfully there. And then one other thing that I'm sure can be edited around or thrown in some other place, I want to talk about the Pogo charging on the bottom. In addition to USB-C, we also gave the customer Pogo charging options on every single one of our cases as standard. And the way that this helps is we offer 2 additional accessories, one which comes with these cases, which is similar to if you've ever owned a MacBook, a MagSafe connector. So on the bottom of the Pogo, you simply connect it, and now you're charging via Pogo. So if you were to trip over this cable or knock your iPad off the shelf, then you have this nice, easy pull connection right there. And then beyond that, we offer charging docks. So we offer these in 1U and 6U variants. And these are Pogo compatible. So you simply attach your device and now you're off to the races. You're charging. And with these as well, we also offer a USB-C on the back, so you can charge additional devices as well. Just again, everything that we do here is trying to give the customer as much flexibility as possible and really make an experience that's tailored to what they need. So giving them options was very important to us.
Mike, there was one more product I think that you have with you, and that's the barcode sled for the Moto G. Can you show us that?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So this is the Moto Smart Scanner. This is based around the Moto G Play, the most affordable entry into Motorola's catalog. And this is really trying to tackle the big dogs. So we're really giving you all the capabilities that you could want with a 2D, 3D barcode scanner, but we're doing so in a very price competitive package. So we've got a rugged case around this. We have Honeywell scan components in here. So we have top of the line scanning hardware. And we have Pogo charging and USB-C charging through the bottom as well. So with these, again, similar to our tablets, we offer 1U and 6U docks for all of these. So our primary goal here is to just offer something that gives you the best of both worlds between price and performance.
I haven't seen too many accessories coming out for that device like that, so that's really great to see.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. We've worked really closely with Motorola and Lenovo on this to make sure that we make a product that integrates perfectly with this device.
That's great. Thank you for showing the product live. It's great to see VersaGuard and the Moto G sled. Thank you so much. Going back to the channel, we talked about how the channel helps us get into the sales cycle earlier. It helps us to get some runway on manufacturing products or making sure that we're really delivering product on time. But speaking of channel, you had a recent win in the channel. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, thanks. We had a pretty big monster win, and it was for a nationwide pharmacy retail chain. And it was about 40,000 units of completely integrated point of sale solutions, which included very specific mounting for a variety of hardware that was changing daily almost, with very tight timelines. And we ended up including a scan engine in there and lots of versatility and security as well. So that was great. We worked very closely with basically the entire channel on that one. We worked very closely with our OEM partners, distribution, and the resellers involved. And it was great that we were all able to stay on the same page and make that happen under very strict and very demanding timelines and expectations.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the size of the opportunity is in the channel. There's always value using the channel to collaborate and partner up on opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. We take great pride in leveraging our channel partners. They're a tremendous asset for us because we couldn't find, support, or execute the number of opportunities that we have if it weren't for the channel partners. We're able to maintain a smaller sales force by leveraging our reseller and OEM friends that bring us those opportunities. and make us aware of what's happening and say, hey, I'm catching wind of something happening at this customer. Maybe they're not ready for you yet, but just be aware, stay abreast of this, or this is the thing I'm seeing in the industry. So it's great to be able to all work together towards the same goal and support them. And we can all win and drive business together and work as one big team. And so we really appreciate everyone who's involved and that we can work with.
So to get our eyes on some of this product, you've got a show you hit every year, NRF, correct?
Yes. Predictably, we will be at NRF just about every year. It's in our backyard in New York. It's a great show. It's very relevant for us, for retail space. We will occasionally do other shows, but NRF is a go-to. And I don't know yet what we're going to be showcasing, but I'm sure we'll have something exciting that we want to put there. So please stop on by. And we'd love to say hello and shake your hand and explain how CTA can help.
That does it for this episode of Beyond the Device. I'd like to thank CTA Digital very much for spending some time with us. If you'd like to learn more, please visit us at 3itech.com and see what's possible with CTA Digital and 3i. Thank you.